All right, so we're going to create a practice form 1040. In this case, we're using the 2020 1040 form. Now, it used to be the form easy, and that's kind of gone by the wayside. So this may look somewhat complex, but just understand when you fill out a tax return, a couple things. Number one is there's going to be a lot of blank spaces on stuff that doesn't apply to you. And secondly, there are all kinds of software out there, TurboTax being the most popular. And the one I've been using for several years now is taxact.com, which just simply walks you through an online questionnaire and does the taxes for you. And your answer to your question might be then, well, then why are we doing all this stuff? Well, first of all, you need to understand the inner workings. To really understand income taxes, you need to do one yourself and understand the inner workings of what's going on to gain a better appreciation for the tax code and things like that. Now, if you're an at-home learner in particular, make sure you go through this lesson with me and not just watch this video. All right, actually go through and create the form along with me. You're going to need three things to create this tax form. In this case, is for McCool Racket and his wife, and they're going to fill out a form 1040 using the information in this write-up. So you need three things. You need the printout of the information that's going into the tax return, number one. Number two is you need your fillable 1040 tax return from 2020. And number three, you will need the link to your tax tables to determine what their tax is. Okay? So here we go with McCool. All right, now I'm going to kind of go back and forth here between my instructions and my document. So they are married filing jointly. I'm just going to start filling in this form. We've got McCool Racket. McCool Racket. Now, I don't know what his social security number is. Bunch of zeros. I don't care. All right. And his wife is, wrong deal there, Reardon. His wife is named Nikki. And again, when you do this electronically, it'll fill in all the information for you. And they live at 5 Rockefeller Drive. I'm just getting this off of the form, off of their W-2s. Right on. 5 Rockefeller Drive in Rockford, Illinois. And that's 61126. And by the way, you can give to the presidential campaign fund. That doesn't change your tax at all. No big deal. This is a new one for me. Did you acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency, i.e. Bitcoin? No, he did not do that. Okay. So standard deduction, someone can claim you as a dependent, your spouse is a dependent. Spouse itemizes, no, we're not going to do any of that stuff. If you're over 65, you get an additional, what's called an exemption. So no, we don't have to worry about that. So we are going to just kind of blaze forward here. So it's going to be McCool and his wife on this particular form. Okay. So here we go. Wages, salaries, and tips. Wages, salaries, and tips. Well, what's that? If we go back, looks like McCool made $42,126. He also made $66,199. Plus his wife made, in the write-up here, $850 in tips. Now the IRS balances or matches up to the nearest dollar. So you got to round to the nearest dollar. And when you add those three amounts up, you should come up with 109,176 in wages. Taxable interest from the write-up, Right here, combined bank interest 1,011. That'll go here. Again, in the past, you would fill out a Form 1040-EZ, thing of the past. All right. Add up all those lines together. 110,187. That is their total income so far. Adjustments to income. Let's see here. Adjustments to income. They shouldn't have any. I'm going to say 0. Subtract 10C from line C. This is your adjusted gross income. Once again, there's all kinds of stuff we don't have to fill out. Standard deduction or itemized deduction. Now, itemized deduction is when you go through and you fill out a Schedule A with all of your charitable donations and your home mortgage interest and your state taxes and a bunch of stuff. I haven't itemized personally in years because they give us such a large standard deduction, or hey, here's some money you can just deduct off the top from your income. So in this case, if we look over here on the left, McCool and his wife are married filing jointly, so they're allowed $24,800. Now, if they could total up all their itemized deductions and it was more than that, then they would want to submit a Schedule A and go ahead and itemize. But again, if you're using an electronic tax filing service, they're going to ask you all these questions, right? So we can just take $24,800. That's money that's not going to be taxed. Qualified business deduction doesn't apply. Add up those two lines 12 and 13. We've got 24,800. And we come down here and taxable income, the amount that they have to pay income taxes on will be 85,387 if my math is correct, which I think it is. That's page 1 of the 1040. Again, I'm using the 2020 version. On to page 2. Well, what's my tax on 85,387? Married filing jointly. I need to slide over to my pages and pages and pages from the IRS tax tables online. And again, our taxable income is 85,387. So over here on the left, I need to find the largest number less than 85,387. I think that's 85,350, less than 85,400. Going over to the second column, which is married filing jointly. Second column on that interval, my tax should be 10,363. 10,363 is their tax burden, how much their bill is for federal income tax for the year. I don't know what Schedule 2, Line 3 is. 10,363. All right. Child tax credit or credit for their dependents. None, none, none. Add lines, blah, 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 blah. 19 and 20. Subtract. Well, 19 and 20 is going to be 0. Come down here to line 22. Like I said, there's a lot of lines here and stuff that doesn't even relate. So don't get caught in the weeds in that. 10,363. Other taxes, self-employment, none of that. 10,363 is my total tax. All right. Now, that's the tax burden. How much was withheld? Now, sometimes they will take money out of your 1099. That, again, is a statement of other earnings, either from bank interest or bank interest would actually be reported up above in taxable interest. This would be like other earnings for like being a contractor, things like that, non-employee compensation. But he was an employee, Form W-2. Well, how much was taken out? Well, if we look at his W-2s, the statement of earnings, he's got up here 8198 federal income tax withheld from one W-2 And down here, $10,245 from a second W-2. So he has two W-2s with two different jobs that he has. If you total all those up, you come up with 18,8198 plus 10,245, 18,443 here. Add those up. Then we get into tax adjustments, additional child tax credit, blah, 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 on and on. Total other payments and refundable credits, 0. Total payments, 18,443. How much he actually paid toward his bill. Now we start comparing. How much was withheld? 18,443. What's his bill? 10,363. You can see there's a big difference between those two. And so McCool and his wife, in their joint filing, ended up paying 18,443 minus 10,363, which is 10,080. 10,000, that's a lie, 8,080. Sometimes I don't always do math correctly in my head. Don't get suckered by that. All right? 8,080. Well, that 8,080, what do I want to have refunded to me? I want the whole thing. I'm going to get back $8,080. All right? And I'm pretty much done with this return at this point. You can see there's going to be a lot of places where I put 0 or blanks or whatever in all of these 2 pages. Except I need to come down here and say, hey, IRS, where's that money going? And this was from the given information, the routing number and the account number. I need to make sure I put that into my return. My routing number is 100078456. Now, again, the routing number is important because that identifies the specific bank where that $8,080 is going to get refunded to. And by the way, if you file these electronically and you have automatic deposit, in this case, of your refund, the amazing thing like this last year with COVID and all these government not rebate checks, but government stimulus checks, is I've gotten them immediately. They've gone right into my bank account. Bam, like, oh my goodness, all of a sudden there's $2,400 sitting in my account from the government. It's been like Santa Claus all over again. The specific account number, 88535-244, is McCool's account number. So that will direct the IRS specifically what bank and what account number to send that $8,080 to. And the last thing left to be done would be for McCool and his wife to sign and date with their occupations, phone number, and email address. The IRS sent you an identity protection PIN, enter it here. I usually enter in some sort of a PIN when I do this online with like taxact.com. And if somebody actually prepared the taxes for that individual, they would have to complete that down here at the bottom. So that's pretty much all there is to a fairly simplified Form 1040, formerly 1040 EZ, with this simplified return for these 2 individuals. Hope you enjoyed that. Take care.